Hello everyone! Welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. PAX East happened this weekend and Bethesda presented a Wastelanders preview at their Bethesda Days Panel. They have revealed a lot of details about previously announced features as well as new ones. Let me show you everything. Hey guys and girls, I'm going to do a rather short intro for this video since we have a lot to cover here. Bethesda announced lots of news at PAX East 2020 regarding the upcoming Wastelanders DLC. They have showcased several NPCs, dialogue options, new quests, and even a new event. Moreover, we got more details about previously announced features such as new locations, minor factions, new weapons, and companions too. The panel was very condensed, and in about half an hour they managed to go over at least 21 reveals, which I have divided into new reveals and previously announced ones. I will also include my opinion whenever it's suitable, so let's jump right into the latest Wastelanders news. I hope you will enjoy it. Right after the developers' introductions, we had a brand new reveal outside of Vault 76. It's the quest WAYWARD Souls, and it should start for anyone who comes outside or around Vault 76. The first objective is to talk to two newly added NPCs around the area, LACEV and ISELA, who are located a few stairs down from the vault's entrance. They seem to be looking for something, and their last source led them here to Vault 76. However, it doesn't seem like whatever they are looking for is in there. During the conversation, you will get a new location marked in your map, which is the WAYWARD Inn, a brand new location added to the Wastelanders. It's also where you need to go to continue your current quest. You can also get to know the two NPCs a little bit better if that's what you want to do. You get plenty of choices for this encounter, as you probably saw by now from the footage shown at PAX East. Not so long ago, Bethesda announced that the map display system for quests would change. With Wastelanders, we will be able to navigate quests by simply checking the map. You will get these small quest windows with all the details you need to know, such as a short description, current objective, track where you have to go next, or even make one single quest active at a time. You will get new options in your game menu to automatically activate all sorts of quests and events whenever you start a new one. This can save you a lot of time, since you no longer have to navigate your Pip-Boy to handle your quests and events one by one. Furthermore, you will be able to enable NPC dialogue lines to get a small history of your conversations in your screen. This way, it's easier to keep track of what has been said, and it might even help you decide which dialogue option to go for next. So far, so good. These changes seem like they will make your life much easier while questing. Let's just hope there won't be any major new bugs though. Some months ago, Bethesda announced that we will find NPCs almost anywhere we go. The world will become more alive with the Wastelanders DLC, and people will be about anywhere you go, not just in faction settlements, for example. Now, at PAX East, devs mentioned that they have been working really hard on this NPC distribution and balance to ensure players will feel the world is alive but not overcrowded. They don't want us to find NPCs every few steps. But they also don't want us to feel the world is still deserted like before the DLC went live.
There's people randomly all over the place.
Wonderful.
There's also like some people that we are placed in specific places. Along the main quest, which used to be the main quest, there's the people that can help orient you, try to give you some information as to what's going on there.
Yeah, we would keep playing the game day after day and be like, is this the right pacing for how far apart people are and how often you run into them? Because we don't want it to feel empty, but you don't want it to feel like someone's talking to you from the woods every 10 feet.
In the end, you should find more random encounters with NPCs. They will also be in some events and certain locations. Lastly, you will possibly meet enemy NPC camps as well. But definitely, you won't just find people in main settlements, that's for sure. I think that's a great touch, because if people are really coming to Appalachia in groups, then it makes sense to bump into them during your journeys. Random encounters are definitely fun to experience. Hopefully, we'll get some new rare vendor NPCs and storytellers for lore lovers. That would really elevate the game, in my opinion. Well, another long-announced new location is the WAYWARD Inn. It will be located near the OVERSEE'S camp, not so far from Vault 76. This bar will be a key location in the Wastelanders DLC, at least it seems that way. The place looks more like a motel from the outside, and you are supposed to be able to grab a drink or two inside the inn. So it might turn out an interesting place for new and veteran players, everyone in general. I suspect there will be at least one vendor inside, someone has to sell you the drinks after all, right? But it wouldn't surprise me if other merchants would come by every now and then. I mean, this would be an excellent place for business, so it would make a lot of sense to find random NPCs and perhaps vendors every time you visit this location. I am probably thinking too far ahead of time, but hey, it would be a realistic feature for a wasteland pub. Don't you think so? Bethesda has just announced a new system that will be integrated in some of the upcoming quests in the Wastelanders. It's called the Team Wally Interior, and it's supposed to be an instanced area that is unique for you and or your team. Bethesda mentioned that this technology allows them to create a more personalized experience and avoid empty dungeons. It's easier for them to adapt interiors to your past and future choices, especially through the upcoming dialogues. It seems like, depending on what you choose, different things will happen and dungeons will ensure you can see the consequences of your actions. Sounds bueno to me.
Instances make it to where we can cumulatively, step by step, keep track of what you've chosen, and then it's reflected as you're going on. And also, you will not get an empty dungeon. You will get an experience which is going to be full of life, tailored to you going in there.
Yeah, this is super exciting technology for us. I mean, not only for Wastelanders, but for everything we're going to be doing in the future. So it literally is a game changer for us, and you should expect to see more of that kind of content moving forward.
Bethesda also claimed this is a game-changing feature and it will be used a lot more in the future, not just in Wastelanders, so you should expect new content to be more personal and tailored to your character's choices. Well, all I have to say here, it sounds too great to be true. In theory, it might sound like the best system ever, but in practical terms, will it work properly? How many new bugs will come with it? I'm a bit skeptical here. I just hope it will work as intended, because it sounds like a very immersive feature to have for questing, especially now that we will have dialogue options and different quest endings too. Now, returning to the WAYWARD Inn, when you go inside you can continue your new quest Wayward Souls, which by the way is a quest line as shown in the footage. Once you talk to the Duchess, the WAYWARD Inn's owner, you will complete the previous mission and then receive a new one called Hunter for Hire. Now, while inside the inn you can also meet and talk to Mort and get to know the two characters a little bit more. There are tons of optional dialogues, which means you don't have to go over every single option for your quests. It's more like you only do it if you want to, for lore purposes, or maybe it could lead to something else. For instance, in Fallout 4, it is not uncommon to receive new quests or items when you get to know people, so it wouldn't surprise me if Bethesda added a few sneaky details like that as well. Let's go over the Foundation now, which is one of the main points presented at PAX East. As you should know, the Settlers is one of the main factions coming live with the Wastelanders. Their main settlement will be located at Spruce Knob, which is currently a workshop. This camp will be called the Foundation, and most people there seem to have a background in construction, so they know how to build stuff very well. The footage displayed at the event shows a well-structured settlement. Everything seems to be organized and reworked properly. There are also NPCs everywhere in the settlement doing their own thing. It does feel like a proper town, very dynamic, very alive. It seems like you can interact and talk to at least a few of the NPCs around, so that's also a plus. I'm just wondering how many of them will be actually relevant or offering you dialogue options. You know, not just unnamed guards or engineers roaming around the town. Either way, my first impressions are quite positive regarding what was shown on the Settlers camp. There is an underground part of the Foundation. It's a brand new place in game, a cave under Spruce Knob. You need to take the elevator from the main ground level of the settlement, of course, then enjoy this wonderful cave, which is the Foundation's hall. This is where we can find the leader of the Settlers, Paige. This place is really beautiful, as you can see. It is basically a lake with platforms on it. The light has been reworked and there's a lot of reflections, contrast and blue cyan colors in the rocks and buildings. Just like in the upper level, you can see several NPCs working around. They all seem to have their own roles and jobs in the civilized settlement. I have a feeling you will have to come here quite a lot if you choose to side with the settlers. There will be at least one new event in the Wastelanders DLC, and the one shown was Riding Shotgun, which is basically an escort event. You will help the minor faction Blue Ridge Caravan to escort some packed BRAEMONS across the Big Bend Tunnel. Things won't go as quietly as you would hope for though. You will meet waves of enemies, including a sub-faction of the Raiders. Your main objective is to protect BRAEMONS, but there are other tasks at hand. This event has leveled rewards and you need to find supply crates to increase your event performance, which leads to better rewards at the end, just like Project Paradise and Meat Week, for example. Fun fact, it seems like different named NPCs will show up at this event, so you won't always see the same faces while doing Riding Shotgun. Devs also said some of the NPCs have very different personalities and stories to tell during the event, so surprise, surprise! Maybe you will be able to experience something new after dozens of events completed. That would be great indeed. Well, the new weapons coming with the Wastelanders DLC have been teased since the very first trailer last year. There are at least 7 new weapons coming, and one of them is the bow, which will come with bow perks too. That's amazing! This means new possible builds are also a thing with the DLC. Moreover, you will be able to mod your bows with different types of arrows, like poison and explosive damage. Double the wow factor. But hey, we also have the plasma caster, the GAUSS minigun, and even the new gauntlet. I am quite interested in the bows, but there is plenty to choose from here. I'm sure you have been waiting a long time for some of these powerful additions. Bethesda has also shown a short preview of some of the upcoming weapons, and they do look really promising, I must tell you. I think these new weapons will bring a tight competition and maybe even overcome most of the bloodied explosive weapons we have in game right now. I can't wait to try them on or to roll legendaries at the PURVEVOR. I really hope they will add the plants as well, not just the weapons. Alright, so what are the Blood Eagles? It's the Raiders' Raider. Using the devs' words here, so don't judge me. They are a new type of human enemies, and believe it or not, they will always be hostile no matter what you do.
A Blood Eagle is a Raider's Raider.
They also bring a more organized combat style into Fallout 76. Unlike Scorched or any other creature, they fight better. They can fight as a group too. Let's call it tactics, so expect a better aim and more damage from these upcoming enemies. They will throw grenades at you, and I believe they will carry all sorts of weapons, probably the new ones as well. Will they have their own camps? We don't know yet, but most likely. I mean, if the Cult of the Mothman does, then why can't these badass enemies have their own as well? Almost at the end of the panel, Bethesda released a new event roadmap until May 2020. Instead of new content like they used to present with their previous roadmaps, we now have community events like PURVEVOR sales, double experience weekends, and screenshot events in social media. Of course, you can find a few other things there, like a Steam release and a new Twitch Prime bundle coming in April, as well as a backpack vanity update, a new treasure hunt event, and the return of the Fashna event in May. There is nothing much other than that, but at least now we can have an idea of what Bethesda has prepared for the following months in terms of special events. The Wastelanders is an inclusive DLC. Any level can start experiencing the new content right away. Whether you're a veteran or you have just bought the game, you will be able to jump right into the Wastelanders DLC. However, some NPCs might offer you different dialogue options depending on certain factors, just like the developers explained.
You don't need to be any particular level to play Wastelanders. You can start it fresh right outside the vault like we display here, or if you're a high-level character, it's
Both work. Both work. Oh. Yeah, like you get the new intro sort of straight out of the gates, and you can jump right in. But high-level characters can go back there, and they respond to that too. Because if you're super high level, then they're a little bit more intimidated than perhaps somebody that's fresh out of the vault.
Yeah, we wanted to make this friendly for both new players, people who are coming back, as well as the veterans. I'm sure several are here who have played the game for hundreds, if not thousands of hours to find new and exciting content.
Now, this is a really great thing because it gives you the choice no matter your level, background or past choices. If you wish to explore Wastelanders, then you can go ahead and do it. If not, then you can just do your old farming routine and enjoy the game the same way. It is a beautiful thing not to be bounded, limited or forced to do something when you might not want to. Well, we already knew that some of the dialogue options will depend on your attributes, but a huge revelation is that some of the dialogue options will also depend on your past choices in-game, and events as well. Most likely quests completed in the past. In other words, there will be reactive dialogue options as well, and that's prompt to make things really interesting.
As you can see with our dialogue here, we're not just limiting the player to 4 specific options. There's a number of different ways you can interact with NPCs based on their specials, the previous events you had taken part in, as well as what kind of character you want to roleplay.
The funny thing is, as writers, a lot of us, if anything, we had to limit the number of choices. There were a lot of passes to where it's just like, oh my god, like it's more than a screen full. So we're trying to get it to the right level of role playing and the right level of reactivity. The things you may have done.
According to Bethesda, the initial dialogue designs were too extensive. There were too many options, so they were forced to cut it down to a handful of options per window. I mean, I do believe that if you were to include all the major events and main quests completed for veteran players, that's a lot of dialogue options, so I do understand why they had to do that. Let's just hope there will be a well-balanced pool of options to choose from. It's always great to see the past of your character being brought up in present events. This point was announced literally one day before the PAX East panel went live, and it's about old NPCs in-game getting new dialogue lines. This means that even if they have no quests for you anymore because you have completed them in the past, you can just go back and experience a new conversation with them. Get to know your favorite NPCs this way, like Rose, the Grafton Mayor, or even Modus at the Enclave.
We actually went back to previous dialogues too. So like characters like Modus, Rose, the Mayor of Grafton, who's awesome. We can go back and you can now actually talk to them.
So we plan to do more of moving forward is going back and revisiting some of these old characters, giving them a few more dialogue options.
I am assuming this feature won't be a game-changing one, it will be just for immersion and lore purposes. I doubt new quests will come out of these new dialogues, but hey, it's a nice detail to be able to talk to these founder NPCs who have been there all along since the very beginning. But surprises are welcome, so whatever comes from these extra dialogues will be well received by the majority of the community, I believe, and I suppose. Bethesda has also announced last year that you would be able to become a middleman, but nobody really knew how that would work out. Now we have some more details about faction reputation and the middleman positioning. Developers said you will be able to side with both settlers and raiders. You don't have to strictly stick with just one faction, but this double-siding work can only last until a certain point in the questline. They also mentioned that the faction you end up choosing will appreciate you a lot and trust you. In other words, you will get a lot more reputation. It works like a rep start boost.
Whoever you wind up siding with, it's not like you can't be friends with the other side. We have a reputation system, and so the side you do choose to help, those guys are you're going to be get a big, huge bump on your relationship with them. But it doesn't mean you can't go down the other path as well. No, you can basically, like, at the very beginning, you do make a choice of, like, who you initially are talking about, the main quest. Can't get into spoilers. But it's not, you're not precluded from basically, taking a little from column A and a little call from B. And you can sort of go down both quest lines and to a point to where you have to make a decision. There's a point to where it's like, dude, if I do this, there is no way they're going to work with me on this.
There seems to be several ways to get reputation as far as we know, so we can always go back to the second faction later on if that's what you want to do. So it is real. Being a middleman will be one of the many possibilities in the Wastelanders DLC. Still, make sure to choose wisely, you never know what might happen later on. Better stick with your favorite faction first. If you have more than one character, then you can side with both factions, so that should be no real issue for you. Allies or companions have also been announced a long time ago. Bits by bits, we have been learning more about them. Now at PAX East, Bethesda said there will be 2 major allies with their own quest lines, and then 3 lighter allies. They don't really have a name or personal quests, but they have personalities and can give you daily quests.
You can get allies that are your friends that come back to camp with you and give you quests, and you can romance. There's 2 major allies we're featuring, and then I don't know how many light allies?
There are 3 of the lighter allies. The lighter allies, they don't have names, but they come, they protect your camp, they have personalities, they give you daily quests.
Of course, you will be able to recruit, befriend, and even romance some of these allies. Don't forget, companions will be at your camp. You can't make them follow you around as you would wish. That's a long announced detail though. The Wasteland doesn't have to be a lonely place anymore with the upcoming DLC. You can even switch companions, but only one will be active at a time. I am fairly sure you can collect all of the available allies in-game, but only time will tell. I'm wondering what daily quests they will give you too. What do you guys think? There has been this everlasting mystery around the Cult of the Mothman faction. We know that certain locations will be reworked and made into shrines or ritual places. We don't know what's the role of this faction, if there will be quests or NPCs to interact with, or if they will be a little bit like the Blood Eagles, a new hostile faction just to kill, I guess. They could be anything for all we know at this point.
Plus the Cult of the Mothman, which they look freaky. They have some of the best new locations in the game because they basically, there's some locations that have now had a complete makeover and been completely cultified.
It's kind of like the cult outfits you've seen before where there's all the twisted wood everywhere and stuff.
Lots of skulls.
Lots of skulls. Glowing things. But also if you come there at like the right time of day, you'll see special stuff maybe. Not going to spoil it.
Well, at least Bethesda has just revealed that this faction will have some of the best locations in-game, with complete transformations, with twisted wood, skulls, glowing things, and more as mentioned by the devs. I'm wondering what will we be able to see during the day, maybe some rituals, maybe the entity they praise, or maybe it could be a new sort of random encounter bounded to these reworked Cult of the Mothman locations. I'm really intrigued, I must say. I really have no idea what it could be. I mean, it could be so many things that it's difficult to just pick one. Well, this point has really surprised me since the Fallout 76 community has requested a camp budget increase for so many months. Bethesda has finally acknowledged that camp budgets are way too small and they need a little boost.
And last, I know there's a lot of builders and a lot of builders in our game. We are looking at that as well. We're going to take a real big effort into making your camp budgets bigger, different ways to build, exciting ways to interact with the game and keep it alive.
Well, this makes a lot of sense. After all, we are getting new camp items almost every week at the Atomic Shop. It is just impossible to build the way you want these days. There are too many items, so any slight budget increase will be welcomed by the community, in my opinion. They haven't specified when will they increase the camp budget, but hopefully it will come with the Wastelanders DLC. Remember, there are faction bundles with lots of faction items coming soon as well, so we kinda need a little bit more space to add them. It is uncertain when this feature will come live, but Bethesda announced that they have been working on a new system to normalize the map regions and make the combat more immersive and challenging for any level. It's called the One Wasteland Experience, and the main objective is to normalize the enemy levels of every single region in the map to your team's level, or your level if you are playing alone.
So the One Wasteland Experience basically makes the whole world viable for you again at any level, right? Because we're going to normalize enemies to be at your level. But even better, it normalizes to your friend's level too, so you can play together. So I think this is going to be a much more multiplayer-friendly world, because now if you're level 300 and one of your friends joins the game, you can team up and play together and both have a really good time.
This way, a high-level player can team up with a low-level friend and still enjoy the game as it is supposed to. You won't one-hit every enemy in low-level areas like typical happens right now. So in the end, the enemies will adapt to your level no matter where you are or where you go in the wasteland. To be honest with you, I'm not so sure this is a great idea, since most veteran players enjoy to quickly farm low-level locations for scrap and med items, for example. Now, you will surely need a lot more effort and ammo to navigate anywhere after this feature goes live. It surely has its pros and cons, in my opinion. Finally, the legendary player system has been announced at least 6 months ago, but we haven't been hearing much about it lately. In fact, it was supposed to have been released last year, but it was delayed. Now we have a small update.
Yeah, listen, we have a packed calendar this year. We're going to be excited to show you everything that's coming beyond Wastelanders in a future event. But it will include such exciting things that we've talked about in the past. Legendary perks are a thing. We are going to allow players level 50 and up to take part in a new perk system where you'll be able to slot in a new perk and then also scrap existing cards that you have filling in your card inventories.
Yep, as you just heard, this legendary player feature will add a new perk system for characters above level 50, where you can select new special perks and scrap current ones that you don't really want or need anymore. You will probably get a new currency like in Nuclear Winter, where you can currently scrap perk cards for tickets and then use them to purchase the cards that you want to use. But that's just me speculating here. It could be an entirely new system, or not. We will have to wait to see what happens. That's pretty much all the highlights shown at PAX East 2020 regarding the upcoming Wastelanders DLC for Fallout 76. Of course, there are many other small details in between the lines, but I tried my best to cover the essential points and keep you informed. If you would like to watch the entire Wastelanders preview, then feel free to check it out. I'm leaving the link down below the video. Some points were astonishing new reveals, others not so much, but overall we know way more about the upcoming content than we did before the event. So that's really a great thing. I must say that I was surprised with the amount of news they showed in this preview. I wasn't expecting as much, but hey, I'm not complaining. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up here. Which reveal was your favorite one? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm Marta Branco, thank you so much for watching. Consider to subscribe if you just got here and you enjoyed what you saw. I have a Patreon page too if you'd like to support my content even further, or you can just sign up for the membership in the channel. The link is also in the description box below. That's all for now. I will see you all very soon in the next video. Until then, take care, adios, bye bye!